Morning. Good morning. Wishing all of us a very happy, happiness-filled, soulful Sunday. Let's start a morning with a Welcome back. So now we've been talking about scanners, and we've been talking about different kind of ways that we can make ourselves more organized, make our dream comes true, and make also all our habits and all our passions fall in line. So one of the most important things we've been learning are tools. And yesterday we spoke about a powerful tool, rotating priorities board. And today we'll talk about yet another tool, which is about avocation, which is about avocation is about hobbies or minor occupations. Now, a lot of scanners are not organized. We spoke about monthly goal calendar yesterday, short goals, long goals, and having a look at them and being so loud and clear that the minute you wake up, you kind of see the order in place. Now let's read about getting organized. Like most other, disorganized, and she always knew where everything was. She did have to keep moving things out of the way when she wasn't working on them, which was a little inconvenient. But for the most part, her materials were under control. This isn't the case with the other Cybils. Disorganization and chaos must stop most Cybils from being productive. If that sounds like you, here's another of my favorite scanner tools that you might find useful. So the avocation station is about you. Avocation is said it's about be or a minor occupation of ours. Now, this tool is powerful for the ones who probably are disorganized, who probably are chaotic, and who probably are still not clear how to go out. To the avocation station, spend possible getting ready and as much as possible actually working on one of the projects. You need to have all the parts available and ready to use immediately. But more finding half an hour, 45 minutes, getting them together. So it's important to keep them in one place. Now, for this, you can combine the suggested with Jeff, the busy parent in chapter 5, too busy to do one with a very piece of equipment. I call the avocation station. Let me show you how it works. Somebody says, I can never find my to-do list or the pieces of the beadwork I'm doing, or the articles I cut out for this project report. A Cybil scanner once told me, because she was working in school day model, she had about an hour for each project. By the time I get everything ready to go, my hour is almost up. And then I have to put everything away again. I'm back to nothing. I imagine these are orderly, well-organized scanners there are well-organized scanners in the world. But they can't be very many of from more common to hear a scanner mumbling. Now, why did I put that lizard? When you have lots of things going on at the same time, and when many of them are in an unfinished state, it is really expected that you'll have trouble assembling everything you need when you're ready to work on one of them. But if you're on a schedule, you can't waste precious time gathering everything together. And it would be so nice if you don't have to clear off your workspace every time you stopped. Won't it be great if you never have to gather up your tools and put them away? So again, now let's enter the avocation station to understand what we're talking about. So I used to wish that I had a huge empty room with rows of long tables against the walls, and on each table, everything I needed for my projects. Then I could leave everything out in the open on its own table and walk away over to it and start working wherever the mood took me. I don't have a room that large. I bet you don't either. But the fantasy gave me the idea of avocation stations. And I started wondering, what kind of what kind of arrangement could replace all those tables and take up less space? A rolling file cabinet might work for some of my projects, but it wasn't quite right for others. Then last month, in a home furnishing catalog, a little rolling stand drawer and a couple of fun gadgets. Ruchi, please take over.
Then the last
Ruchi,
month,
please
yeah,
take over.
yes. Then last month, in a home furnishing catalog, I saw a little rolling stand with drawers and a couple of fun gadgets like a deck space that opened, a slot for large pages, a shelf for books. It was called a bill paying center, as I recall, but to me it was a dead ringer for an avocation station. I got visions of lining up 5 or 10 of them against one wall and wheeling out whichever one I wanted to work on at that moment. If you're a scanner with lots of projects going on at the same time, you should have some variation of those little pieces of furniture. You can make your own to suit yourself out of any small rolling file cabinet or wire cart and keep a whole bunch of them ready to go. Think of it. You would never wonder where the glue was or the beads were, and you would never have to put your scissors or magazines or recording devices or video camera away when you were done. Everything could be stored in its own movable workstation. Celeste decided to use an avocation station for each of her smaller sculptures in progress. She attached small wheels to 4 deep, 2 drawer wooden file cabinets she found in a scrapyard and glued a kitchen cutting board to the top of each one as a work surface. The bottle caps and hubcaps and other odd items she gathered for building materials went into the large bottom drawer. The glue and tools fit in a small upper drawer, and the piece she was working on sat on top. When she wanted to work on a piece, she wheeled the station to the electric outlet where she kept her welding materials. She did the same with her recording equipment and the files for a book in progress, and she rolled every project out of the way when it wasn't in use. Lynn loved the idea too. She put files for a history project in one avocation station and files for her memories in another. I love these. I'm going to start a business making them, Lynn said and ran to her scanner daybook to write up the idea with diagrams and measurements and explanations all over the pages. I hope she really does it because I would like a few of those. But until then, you and I can make avocation stations from almost nothing. A basket for craft materials, a tote bag for writing materials, or any other portable container that will hold everything you need for one of your projects. Once your avocation stations are set up, the practical thing to do, and it's lots of fun too, is to see if your setup are completely by doing a test run. Bring out your kitchen timer and set it for 5 minutes. Then pull out one of your avocation stations and work on that project for 5 minutes only. If you find something's missing, write a note or go get it if you can. In 5 minutes, when you hear the timer go bing, run to the next avocation station and repeat the process. If you keep moving fast, you won't take anything too seriously and you will spot any problem so you can fine tune your setup for real use. You will also develop a wonderful game you can play anytime. You have been so busy, you have neglected your projects for too long and find that you miss doing them. Just set aside a half an hour and do another high-speed avocation station test run using that kitchen timer the same way you did before. You might write a few lines in your book, thread some more beads onto a piece of jewelry, pull out your camera and take a photo, and take a fresh look at a design you were working on. It will keep you in touch with all your projects, and if it feels like a guilty pleasure, tell yourself you're just checking the setups to make sure they're working and ready. You might want to set up the results of your first rounds with the setup and avocation stations in your scanner daybook. Just for the record, I think you will enjoy remembering this day.
It's very simple. We can't be having huge closets and all for stuff, but if you can dedicate probably a little bag, maybe basket, maybe a shelf, something somewhere on a, there. So you will not be wasting time looking for it elsewhere. That's all there it is to it. So that, we're just kind of more organized. Now let's read the next section, a package from Lynn.
A few months after our discussion, I got a large envelope from Lynn in the mail. She had enclosed a folded red sheet of construction paper, which opened up into a little bulletin board with items stuck all over it. There were snapshots of two stuffed toys she has made for a grandchild, a cartoon of a little book that said Memoirs, 37 pages, a dried sprig from a dill plant, and at the top, written in the bold black letters, these words: doing everything you love every day, or how to write a book, build an herb garden, create a board game, make stuffed toys, study history, and run a home business at the same time. There was a lovely letter about how well she was doing, and it ended: P.S. Please return the sheet to me in the enclosed stamped self addressed envelope so I can tape it to my daybook. Live design models for other kinds of Cybele
So what is the
scanners.
daybook? The scanner. So what is the daybook that we talked about? It has all that I want to do. Now this has, I think she's written a huge bold thing on top of it with whatever she wants to create. And then she's put, says, I want a daybook so that, I forward. It's a planning book. It's a day book where all your dreams are there, your scanners, your dreams, all of them are. We also spoke about putting marks on like page dividers. Organize. कि spiritual भी यहाँ पर है, personal goal भी यहाँ पर है, health goal भी यहाँ पर है. So it's like different, right? And let's read about the life design models.
Live design models for other kinds of Cybele scanners. Cybeles are the largest group of cyclical scanners, and they come in many sizes and shapes. If you're not like Lynn or Celeste and their schedules won't work for you, consider one of the following alternatives. The physician live design model. A physician might see patients on Monday and Tuesday, go into the hospital on Wednesday and Thursday, attend conferences a few times a month, and take 2 weeks in the winter to go with Doctors Without Borders to Nepal to perform hundreds of cataract operations. But you don't have to be a doctor to follow this model. It's just right for any Cybele scanner who likes to spend a few days on each project and do something different once or twice a year. The Spy Life design model.
Book that I to you, we about our about a day, about a scheduling. So if you saw for me, I had demarked days for my factory days. I had demarked days and timings to meet my family. Marked for developing ideas. My meeting was demarked because I'm a planner. I know I like this. I like this. I could be my result of is probably this 20%. The productivity is I have helter skelter in my energy. कभी कुछ हो रहा है, कभी कुछ हो रहा है. Factory time. It's a very important to feel like out with Spy Life design model. Ruchi, let's start with the spy life design model.
The Spy Life design model. If you have got projects that take you to very different environments and you're very ever secretly wanted to be a spy who wears disguises, this model might suit you perfectly. I recently met a woman who designs and manufactures women's purses and bags. She's also an art dealer who specializes in African art, and she's attending graduate school for her master's in social work. I go to the factory to oversee the making of the purses and bags in my work clothes, she said. If I have a sales meeting with a buyer or a show to go to, I have some fun and dress to kill. I wear different makeup and even a wig. And I have special outfits for art openings and different ones for school too. And when I become a social worker, I'm going to come up with the perfect outfit for that environment too.
Now, this is being over creative, as being like an actor, as being like a spy, but that's okay. All right. So there are lots of tools for us cyber scanners, whoever for us scanners, and we can see whether we are cyber or cyclical, whichever we are, double agent. Now, here are the tools, and we've talked about the first one. Yet, let's review them and some new ones. The first call them as in the binders advantage they open up. Read about it. Ruchi, whenever the net goes off, you continue reading. Don't wait
Okay.
for me because we are in a
Okay.
journey. So I can come explain because I know the book, right? So please
Okay.
start.
Yeah. 20 or 33 ring binders. This is one of the most useful of all the tools for the Cybele scanner. Almost all scanners love using this system, but no one needs it more than Cybele scanners. For one thing, it keeps all their projects organized. But there is an additional reason these binders are important to them. Cybels can have extended surges of the creative phase, coming up with one good idea after another. One client called them idea spills. It's a waste of talent to slow any scanner down and ask her to complete one idea before coming up with another. If she can pull out a 3 ring binder for every new idea, she'll be able to start them all as they come up. And the binders will provide a holding spot for later follow up when the creative phase cools. This handy tool makes it possible to control almost any number of projects at once.
Did you read? If you have some particular idea, too many ideas for one section, because it's a three-ring binder, you can keep adding your ideas. It's not like they'll be short of space. That's why they call this idea very powerful. Number two is project boxes.
In case your ideas tend to be more 3D, that is, if they include books or objects, you can use a portable file folder bin or set up project boxes to act just like those binders. I realized how powerful this solution was in a recent telephone class I ran when a woman named Claire told us her problem. I used to be a consultant for a nonprofit organization, and now I have a job I really love, teaching kids in grade school. But on the side, I play with ideas for helping nonprofits make money. And I also have two little businesses of my own, developing software. I've sent out emails and marketed most of my stuff for a long time, but suddenly I'm getting lots of responses and I can't keep track of anything. You don't run into too many people with Claire's particular combination of activities, and I was sure she needed a far more complex system for her projects. but I couldn't resist jumping in with the 3-ring binder solution. I know this is terrifically oversimplified. I apologize. And I'm sure you'll get more sophisticated answers from other people on this call. But before I open the floor for suggestion, I just want to suggest having a whole bunch of 3-ring binders with the name of each ongoing project on the spine and keeping out in plain sight like I do. While I was talking, I could hear other people responding on the line with interest, murmuring about the idea. I had assumed that my suggestion was such a primitive, low tech notion that it would get a lukewarm reception at best. I was wrong. Everybody loved it. Claire was extremely enthused. That would really work. I love that idea, she said. It could make everything manageable. Later, when the evaluations for the class came into my email inbox, almost half of the attendees wrote that one of the most valuable things about it was the suggestion that they put their projects in 3-ring binders. I got this letter in my email from one of the participants. I have known for a long time that I'm a scanner, but now I think the light went on. Having 20 or 30 projects to work on for a lifetime sounds just great. It makes me look at what I do during the day in a different light already. Today, I made a cupcake for Grandpa's birthday while listening to a foreign CD. When I play with the dog, it's animal behavior study. Take the recycling to the depot is now environmentalist work. Reading this bulletin board trains me as a life skills counselor.
Okay.
All the activities that previously were wasting time now have a purpose.
Isn't that wonderful? That the minute you put some labels to it, so all of us have put labels, I'm short, I'm dark, I'm tall, I'm, fair. People put labels. Even whatever we're loving to do, हमें पता है हमें क्या करना है, what we're liking. Put labels to it and then make files and make arrangements and plan them in your schedule and just see how everything will start shaping up. And one more thing, you'll become constructively busy. You'll not be busy, you'll do constructively busy because you're going to be multitasking in the beautiful sense that not doing it one time, two, three things. Of course, this lady she was baking while hearing something. Now that's okay because while baking, you don't need attention of like all senses, right? You can always hear something and cook. So just see, you can do some interesting stuff. Or while walking, you can be hearing some nice lecture about something, or maybe you're going to read a book on Audible. So that multitasking goes with it. So now very soon you'll realize what is it that you want to do. Now the careers that cyber scanners have, of course, most of us have a good career, and we've been talked about the value of having good paying job, a good one job, and having something that we want. What can also happen is, like Lynn, all cyclical scanners can grow into experts and authorities because the expertise can accumulate through the years, just like every other aspect of their projects. But while they're on their way, how can they pay their bills without taking too much time from their love projects? Here are some careers that have worked well for cyber scanners. Multiple income streams. This means using a different number of skills you have to bring in all the income you need. If you can't earn enough money doing everything you love, try getting 5 or 6 of them at once and you might find you're doing very well. This is perfect for scanner whose favorite project tends themselves to earning income. Now, in this kind of thing, there are people who volunteer for one day a week or few hours a week, and they're doing something online. There's something doing offline. You can pick up jobs, and there's something which is requires translation, for example. There's so many jobs that we don't even know about them. We've not been exposed. But if you're open and receptive, the doors will open for you with many, many, many opportunities. Now let's talk about the good enough job. Now, cybers are very often happiest with a good enough job. It's natural for you to have your interests are the kind that can be done after work on weekends. Remember, the good enough job is a job that requires only 40 or fewer hours of your time per week. It provides security and has a non-toxic environment, meaning pleasant people to work with. A job like this is your own subsidy to the art, so give it the affection it deserves. So some things which is paying you well, if it's a conducive atmosphere, go stick with it, don't leave it, because the spare time can be used for your passion. A home business. Working at home, running your own businesses might be the ideal, where you'll wear all your favorite hats, hire someone else to wear the ones you don't like as much. You can follow your natural rhythm, take energy naps, walks, and work on projects while you have the right level of attention. I don't know how many of you realized if you're into jobs or businesses, working from home actually was more constructive because you actually had time. Like I can talk about me, I had very long travel time. Now there's 5.5, 6 hours travel time. Now I'm doing so much more work and I have so much more time in hand. So just see if that works for you. Umbrella careers. If you're looking for a career that will allow you to do many of the things you enjoy, you're talking about an umbrella career. If you like to write in addition to other interests, consider being a freelance writer. Then you can write articles and even books on any subject that interests you. Or if you love information for its own sake, as many scanners do, you can become a researcher, librarian, information broker in one of the fields that interests you. Consultant. If you find a job as a consultant in a field that interests you, such as animals or music theater, for instance, you can build expertise and eventually command respect in that field. You could even become a guru if you create a teaching seminar, write a book about it. And you can still do all the other things you love on your own time. So do not think that this is only applicable for the Western world. I met a gentleman day before. Again, he is one of the Rahul Jain's alumni. He's a young lad. He's about 28, got married just a year ago. He's got the same thing as business autopilot. And he's like, now I have all the time in the world. I'm pursuing my passion for learning how to play a guitar. I'm playing golf. I'm playing with my animal much more. We've set up a new house. I'm creating this, I'm creating that. And he's picked up book writing. So people are doing it. It's not like they're not doing it. It's all about our mind. The more we open our mind, the more careers come up, the more options come up. And if we are stuck that, no, I have a 9 to 5 job and I have to do it, then so be it. What is it that we are looking for? And what is it that we are looking for will open to us the minute we are open and receptive and we realize that we are scanners and we want to do these 10 million things. Now let's read about Lynn's life today. Now, after being a scanner, after all the tools, what is her life all about? Let's read it.
I heard from Lynn again not long ago, since she first learned how to organize her interest 2 years ago.
1 second, darling. Rahul, sir, you need to change the page, please. Yes, please.
I heard from Lynn again not long ago, since she first learned how to organize her interests 2 years ago. Her life is very different. She created a number of dolls based on historical figures from her history studies, set up a website where she discusses home greenhouses and specializes in heritage herbs, and runs regular publicity and promotion workshops at small business conferences, which she records and sells on her other website. Let's see what happens when you try out some of these tools. I think you will find yourself making a kind of progress you didn't realize was possible. You will find the summary of them on the opposite page.
Please read.
Now you're familiar with the double agent, a scanner who takes months for each of her lives, and the Sybil who can stay involved with one project for hours, weeks, or months. It's time to meet the fastest of the cyclical scanners, the plate spinner, who does all his projects simultaneously.
So now in front of you will be a chart. So just flip the page. How Cybils are doing everything they love. So the first was a life design model for Cybils, where they have a school day model. We talked about it, that, you work in school and you have the weekends off or you have the evenings off. You also have 2 months off in a year, which you can do whatever you want. We talked about the SPY model, moving from one place to another to another to another. Having that, we have a physician model where we know this is fixed times, you can do this day, and plan your schedule accordingly. We talked about the random acts of passion model, so that you have time. Okay, today I'll do this, tomorrow I'll do that, and I have time because I have bought in time. But I know that I can move my thing around and I can do this right now. I could just put in this tomorrow, so we can do that. Now, careers which may go very well for us, multiple income streams. Why? Because just because it gives you a variety, it feels that you're not doing work for nothing. As in multiple income, if you're freelancing and you're working at a place with a social NGO, it's great. Your income is your satisfaction. It doesn't have to be monetary income. See what works. The good enough job, the job that pays you very well and gives you time enough to do whatever you want. Home business is very fruitful because sometimes you can work from home and realize that you can do so much more. Umbrella career, we've spoken about this. Consultant, we've spoken about this. Now, the most important thing in these aspects are the scanner toolkits. The scanner planner, the scanner day notebook. Planner, until we plan something, until we schedule something, it doesn't get done. Scheduling, planning with the month, 15-month goal calendar, which you have accountability and answerability at the end of every single month. Now, in my opinion, it's good to have a like-minded person being your accountability partner. But if not, You are the best person because if you're convinced in your goal. So sometimes it's important to put the right calendar notes and alarms on your phone to remind you to be back in motion. And sometimes you know that you will have a bad day. What I did once is when I knew that, I'm the only accountability partner, I made prior videos for myself. And then I reminded myself, okay, feeling low, see this video. Feeling good, see this video. So my own voice was backing me up and telling me, come on, move it. You knew this is going to happen. So now why are you feeling this? So this can also help you in a 15-month goal calendar if you are your own accountability partner. A pre-plan of your audio messages or your video messages to get you on your journey. Dating priorities board, we spoke about it that, everything is possible. We just need to plan it and sometimes shift it as per our whims and fancies, because we right now I'm in an artistic mood. I want to create an art tomorrow. And then later I'm in a mood to play something. And then I'm in a mood to write something. Then I'm in a mood to talk to my factory for something. So again, I can rotate the priorities if required. Setup, we spoke about. Avocation station, we spoke about. A kitchen timer, we spoke about. To test the avocation station, that how well am I planned? If I have ideas, are they in one place at one time? Or if to find that one thing, I need an hour. Very important for that. 20 or 30 ring binders, we spoke about something like a planner section, a planner binder, something like a dream binder. Jo bhi ideas are like a scrapbook. You keep adding in that. You keep binding more pages in that. Project boxes was somewhat similar to avocation station. Of course, whatever, one is movable and one is in the place, but it depends on what you really want. Today, this will be it. And tomorrow we'll start a new chapter. Until then, let's go for our sun salutations. And thereafter, we start our book letting go.
The Surya Namaskar with mantras. Om Mitraye Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaye Namaha. Om Bhanave Namaha. Om Khagaye Namaha. Om Pushne Namaha. Om Hiranyagarbhaye Namaha. Om Marichaye Namaha. Om Adityaye Namaha. Om Savitre Namaha. Om Arkaye Namaha. Om Bhaskaraye Namaha. Salutations to the universal friend. Salutations to the resplendent sun. Salutations to the energy that induces activity within us. Salutations to the one who illumines. Salutations to the sun moving across the sky. Salutations to the giver of strength. Salutations to the golden cosmic self. Salutations to the Lord of the dawn. Salutations to the son of Aditi, the cosmic mother. Salutations to the benevolent mother. Salutations to the energy that we praise, and to the one who guides us to salvation. The sun salutation now with the names of the postures, both in Sanskrit and English. Pranamasan, Hastuthanasan, Madhastasan, left leg back, Ashvasanchalanasan, Parvatasan, and hold this position, and now slowly progressing into the deeper version of Parvatasan, Adho Mukh Svanasana. Ashtang Namaskar, Bhujangasana, Parvatasan, left forward Ashvasanchalanasana, Padahastasana, Hastuthanasan, Pranamasan. On the right side, prayer position, raised arms pose, hand to feet pose, Right leg back, equestrian pose. Mountain pose, hold mountain pose, and slowly moving into the deeper version of mountain, the downward facing dog. Salute with 8 limbs. Cobra. Press back to mountain. Right forward, equestrian pose. Hand to feet pose. Raised arms position. Prayer pose. One round of the sun salutation with awareness on the breathing. So exhaling our hands to the chest, pranam. Inhaling as we bend back. We exhale as we fold forward. Left leg back, inhale as we're arching back. Exhale into the forward. Hold the breath for knees, chest, chin. Inhale as we arch back. Exhale into the forward. Left leg forward, inhale. This is a back bend. Exhale whenever we bend forward. Inhale as we bend back. Exhale, hands to the chest. And on the right, deep breathing. Exhale. A deep inhale. A long exhale. Right leg back with an inhale. And exhale. Hold the breath. Inhale. And exhale. Right leg forward with a deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale.
All right. So yesterday we spoke about and letting go about the blame game that we have been playing in our life and how that has made us into who we are. And today we're going to talk further about the company we keep, how much it matters and what happens to it and how can we understand the science behind it. So let's go for our journey. The company we keep. Another valuable technique for getting out of apathy, depression, or situations which are predominantly being run by the thought, I can't, is to choose to be with other persons who have resolved the problem with which we struggle. This is one of the greatest powers of self-help groups. When we are in a negative state, we have given a lot of energy to negative thought forms, and the positive thought forms are weak. Those who are in a higher vibration are free of the energy from their negative thoughts and have energized positive thought forms. Merely to be in their presence is beneficial. In some self-help groups, this is called hanging out with the winners. The benefit here is on the psychic level of consciousness. And there is a transfer of positive energy and relighting of one's own latent positive thought forms. In some self-help groups, this is called getting it by osmosis. It is not necessary to know how it happens, but merely that it does happen. It is common to witness this phenomenon. For instance, in our society, most people have been trained to be logical and left-brain in their orientation. However, some people from birth are right-brain oriented. Such right-brain persons are characterized by greater powers of intuition, creativity, telepathic communication, and awareness of thought forms and energy vibrations. Frequently included amongst these capabilities is a capacity to see the bioenergy field around the human body called the aura. When in presence of people with this capacity, it becomes possible to share that capacity. That was true even as a skeptical, logical, left-brain male scientist who was in the company of people with the capacity to see auras. Upon following the instructions on how to see the aura, surprisingly, there were indeed a visible field of light around people's heads. In particular, the aura around one man seems to be almost like ectoplasm, hung predominantly over his left ear. On the right side of the head, however, there was practically nothing to be seen. To know whether this phenomena was real or not coming from the imagination, it was confirmed by poking someone nearby who was adept at seeing auras. She also saw an aura that was very, very wide on one side and practically absent on the other. The capacity to see auras was available only when in the presence of others with that capacity. Upon leaving the instructional situation where there had been people who could see auras, the capacity was no longer there. In the following years, when in the company of friends who could see auras, the capacity returned. One time, in the presence of a woman psychologist at a clinic whose job was that of psychic diagnosis by means of observing people's auras and their changing color patterns, there suddenly was a capacity not only to see auras, but also to see them in the scintillating colors and watch the aura change in response to fluctuating emotions. Just by talking with her, the capacity was suddenly available. It is as though when we are in a proximity of the auras of people with certain capacities, some transferability can take place. Simply put, we are either positively or negatively influenced by the company we keep. It is unlikely that we will overcome an inhibition if we choose to be in the company of others who have our same problem. So do you understand? अगर हम एक इंसान एक कंपनी में रह रहे हैं जहाँ लोग ऑरा देख पा रहे हैं and we don't have that gift yet we can see the aura. So imagine अगर मेरी problem or suppose my buddy is Akshay and both of us have the same problem. Ab how will we find a solution? But suppose our third buddy is Manish. Now Manish's aura is so much that he has a solution and we tune into him and we're like, okay, we can do it. It's not a big deal. We are the company that we keep. If a company is negative, we need to move on. We need to understand or we need to manifest that this company becomes more powerful and more you're conducive. This phenomena was evident in the case of a divorced woman who came for a consultation. She wanted to know whether or not she would have psychotherapy. Her complaints were a recurrent ulcer and migraine headaches. As the story unfolded, great bitterness over an unfortunately traumatic divorce came forth. She had joined a consciousness raising feminist group, she said. She described this particular group as almost completely made up of divorced women who were bitter, angry, hateful of men. Now, as a group, they were getting a lot of payoffs from their negativity. In reality, the lives are forlorn and rather pathetic as they struggle to regain their self-esteem through extremes and marked emotional imbalance. Now, I used to have a cancer healers group. All of us were healing each other and we were all cancer with, we were going through cancer at that time. But, none of our energy dipped. Why? Because the person who was leading the group was a cancer survivor, cancer winner. She was guiding us on how to heal each other. So the result was brilliant. So please see the company that you grieve. And I, like for example, again, I'm talking about my business coach again. Rahul sir has something called an alumni. Every month he calls somebody inspirational. So even if I'm not creating great business right now, every month when I go for that lunch, I'm meeting like-minded people and discussing about the success of somebody who's come as a speaker. Imagine what I'm creating myself into. That is what it's all about. Your company matters. It doesn't matter 24/7 you're living with them. But even at times, occasional companies and support groups, all of us in the morning, 1.5 hours, we're giving to our own evolution. We're learning and reading books as simple. We're doing nothing, right? But how much of difference is it making to us depends upon our company, our Sangha. Do we have each other's back? Are we genuinely doing the assignments? That is what it's all about. Now, after listening to this girl's story and investigating her life circumstances, it was suggested that instead of a psychotherapy, she follows 1 month simple recommendation for a period of 3 months. If it didn't work, then she could reassess the need for psychotherapy. The recommendation was merely to discontinue association with the group and with her bitter divorced friends and instead seek the company of people who had successfully reestablished relationships despite former divorces. At first, she resisted and claimed that she had nothing in common with these group members. Then she acknowledged two basic facts. First, it was far more energy saving to foster relationships with positive people. Secondly, one of the laws of consciousness is that like goes to like. Bitterness attracts bitterness, whereas love attracts love. She asked herself, where has my bitterness taken me? Have I gotten anything out of it that is positive and helpful? As time progressed, she stopped spending time with her group and began to pursue relationship with healthier, more balanced people. In the company of happier people, she had an exhilarated awareness of how much negativity she was holding inside of her. She began to be aware that she was consciously holding negativity and choosing to hold on. And she began to look at the cost of such negativity. Her social life changed. She became more smiling, more happier. Her migraine headache disappeared. Eventually, she fell in love again and joked that falling in love was the best cure she had ever discovered for an ulcer. If we find ourselves in a state of apathy, we can discover the underlying program by asking ourselves what we are trying to prove. Are we trying to prove that life is rotten and that it's a hopeless world? That it wasn't our fault, the blame lies on somebody else, that one can't find love, that happiness is impossible? What are we trying to justify? How much are we willing to pay to be right? As we acknowledge and let go of feelings that arise in response to these questions, the answers begin to appear. So I do not know how many of you, like yesterday, I got a lot of feedback for the morning meditation, which Akshay recorded for all of us. It was just about simply letting go, right? Because you have been holding on to something for long and it's paying you no use. So the validation, the answering, the questioning yourself, and why am I holding to this is the most important. Answers usi mein milenge, questions aapko karne padenge. You have to be the one to question. The next chapter is chapter number 5. It's about grief. So a lot of us are living in grief, whether we realize or whether we don't. You'll say, no, grief only happens when you really lose something. No, my dear friends, today let's break that shackle, because grief happens whenever something that we want doesn't happen, because that's how we are built up. We have been told to live in a competitive world. From the time we grow up, we've been told races hoti hain, assignments milte hain, numbering hoti hai, 1, 2, 3, class mein kya hai. When we don't get something that we really want, we grieve. So let's go for it. Grief is an experience common to all of us. In grief, we feel that things are very difficult. We'll never make it. We are unloving and unlovable. We have thoughts such as, all the years I wasted. It's a feeling of sadness and loss, loneliness, the feeling of if only, regret, feeling of abandonment, pain, helplessness, hopelessness, nostalgia, melancholy, depression, longing, irretrievable loss, heartbrokenness, anguish, disappointment, pessimism. Grief can be precipitated by the loss of a belief system, a relationship, a capacity or role, a hope about ourselves. आपने भी कुछ गोल बनाया अपने लिए and आप उसको नहीं रीच कर पा रहे तो भी आप grieve करोगे. Or an overall attitude towards our life, external circumstances or institutions. It's the feeling, I'll never get over this. This one's too difficult. I tried, I failed. Nothing helps. There's this feeling of vulnerability to pain and suffering. So we see a great deal of it in the external world to reinforce and justify our own inner feeling. Now there's a crying for someone to help because we can't do anything about it. And we feel that maybe someone else can do it for us. And this is in contradistinction to apathy, where there's a feeling that no one can help. So in apathy, we're like, kuch nahi ho sakta, nothing can happen, it's hopeless. But in grief, we are looking for an anchor. Koi aa jaye mere paas. Somebody can help me. Somebody. Now, how are you and me allowing the grief? हमें पता है grief अच्छा नहीं है. फिर भी हम उसको allow कर रहे हैं life में. Let's understand. Most of us carry a great deal of suppressed grief. Men especially are prone to hide that particular feeling, as it is considered unmanly and unmasculine to cry. सुना होगा ना आपने, लड़के नहीं रोते, नहीं, men don't cry, you're going to be strong. If society ne banaya, who said men don't have emotions, yeah? And who said women can't be strong? Why do people generalize the sexists? I don't understand. Girls can be very bold, men can cry, that's fine. But that's how society is and we can't do much about it except change ourselves and our perception. Now, most people are afraid of the amount of grief they have suppressed. They're terrified that they will be swamped and overwhelmed by it. People will say, if I were ever to start crying, I would never stop. There's so much of grief in the world, grief in my life, grief in my family, grief in my friends. Oh, the untold tragedies of life. All of this disappointments and smashed hopes. Suppressed grief is responsible for many psychosomatic conditions and health-related complaints. इस ग्रीफ की वजह से आधी से ज्यादा बीमारियां भी होती, physical diseases भी होते हैं, because and it's okay to have disease. I'm not saying we are picture perfect. There's nothing called perfection. All of us can go through our medical ups and downs, can go through our diseases, because emotionally we could be rotten. It's absolutely okay, but it's not okay to suppress that feeling. Everything is okay. Now, one of my friends, my besties, is going through COVID again the second time. But he's such a cool go-getter. He's like, it's okay, yeah, this too shall pass, Prach. And I was like, wow. Now it's all right. I mean, even if he has it, such a happy-go-lucky guy, he's like, he's not allowing grief to come. "Mujhe dobara ho gaya. First time it was like this, now again." No. So he's not suppressing his feelings. He's becoming stronger, and he says, "Yeah, it happened. I wasn't ready for it, but it's okay. Now it's happened." Now, when we suppress our feeling, we are taking the burden deep, deep, deep within it. But if we are allowing them to come up and be relinquished, we can actually quickly jump from grief to acceptance. So, बहुत important है for us to grieve, because sometimes grief is the best way to acceptance. Like I keep talking to you all about, when I lost my brother, we did not cry at all, just because, I mean, I'm not going to say at all, but never with each other or in front of people, because we're like, so, the acceptance came in so late, so late. And the grief continued forever and ever. And now finally we let go. So it's very important to be able to grieve, to be able to move on. The continuing grief over a loss is due to resistance to accepting that state and allowing the grief to expend itself. The persistence of a feeling is due to the resistance to allowing it to be relinquished. Example, cry me like a river. Once we accept the fact that we can handle grief, we're already up into pride. The feeling of I can do it and I can handle it brings us the courage. Now, even with children, when they've lost a mark or two and three, and if they want to grieve, tell them it's okay to grieve. You want to grieve, please grieve. But you also should know that you can do it and you can handle it, and come what may. Today you have lost this mark, tomorrow you can do it. Encourage them, give them the courage. Even the word encourage, what is it? It's courage is there fully. Encourage them so that they can brace themselves up. And please do not bring up your children with the fact that they have to be always strong. No, do not do that. They have to be human. That's what the human life is barely given. Why do the spirit in us keep choosing again and again a human life, again and again and again? Why have we transcended to a human life after so many lives? Thousands and thousands and thousands. 84 लाख योनियां बोलते हैं, उसके बाद एक human life मिलती है. 84 lakh lives हम live कर चुके हैं before we've come to this human world. And if all of you have had seen your past life regression, you'll probably have seen that you've had so many lives there also. So how old are you? How many lakhs of years of age you have? And yet you're being conditioned. So first learn to accept that we can do it. We've come a long way and we have a long way to go. And this life is like a cakewalk. When you embrace that fact about you that, I can do everything, my life is easy, it's going to be like that. And you're going to find that a lot of peace will come in your fact. But if you say, no, life's a challenge, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't find this. If you go into number games, you're not going to enjoy. But numbers will come to you automatically if you're enjoying. And that's the thing about even finances. If you're enjoying what you're doing, the numbers just jump up, because when you talk to your clients, your vendors, you know exactly what language you're doing. It's out of passion and love. So now, with the courage to face our inner feelings and let them go, we thus move on to the levels of acceptance and eventually peace. When we let go of a lot of grief we have been holding over the years, our friends and family will notice a change in our facial expression. Our step will be lighter, we will look younger. Now, the best part about grief is it's time limited. This fact gives us the courage and willingness to face grief. This too shall pass. We've heard of a lot of people keep telling us, which is true, right? Because grief kitna lamba tikega, yeah? It's not our inherent nature. We were born with love and light. So something as external as grief or sorrowness can't stay for very long. If we don't resist the feeling of grief and totally surrender to it, it will run out in about 20 minutes. Then it will stop for variable people. It will stop for, variable lengths of time. If we keep surrendering to it every time it comes up, then it will eventually run out. We just allow ourselves to experience it fully. We only have to tolerate it and not go for overwhelming thing. Or if you want an overwhelming grief, depends upon us, for it to suddenly disappear. If you're going to stop yourself saying, मुझे ये नहीं feel करना, it will go for long. निकाल दो सब, जो जितना भरा हुआ सब निकाल दो, एकदम से हल्का लगता है. I don't know how many of you have experienced the crying therapy. I have experienced. जी भर के रो and एकदम से the eyes feel detox, the body feels lighter, and it's like, oh, I'm light. So sometimes it's very important to not resist the grief, because if you resist, it's going to go on and on and on. Suppressed grief can go on for years. Why do you think depression patients are like this? वो एक ही बात पे, एक ही थॉट पे लिंगर करे जाते हैं, करे जाते हैं, करे जाते हैं. And उसका people say doctors are the cure. They give them medicines that slows down their brain and they can't think more, so वो anyway slow हो जाएंगे. The fact is they need a change of place, that's all. In facing grief, we often have to acknowledge and let go of our shame, our embarrassment about having the feeling in the first place. पहली बात तो अगर if you're feeling it, just let go of that, because it's okay to feel embarrassed. It's okay to feel shame. It's okay to feel whatever you're doing. Some people say, I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed. It's okay to even feel that also. It's all right. The minute you accept that, everything comes in place. For men, especially so, we have to relinquish our fear of the feeling and a fear of being so often overwhelmed by it. It helps us to realize that letting go of the resistance to feeling moves us quickly through it. Traditionally, women have said out of their own experience and wisdom, a good cry makes me feel better. Many a man has been surprised when he learned the truth of this. Experientially, there was the surprising and almost immediate relief from pounding headache as soon as the grief about a past situation was allowed to come up. As the grief surfaced, there was the sentence, men don't cry. After letting go of the masculine pride about crying, then came up a fear that the crying would never stop once it starts. And then what happened? It was allowed to start. As soon as that fear was gone, there was anger. It was anger at a society that forces men to suppress their feelings, and anger at the notion that men are not even supposed to have feelings. With the letting go of that anger, the level of courage was reached. And then the needing crying could be allowed. Not only was there relief from a headache, but with the torrent of sobs subsided, a profound peacefulness settled. Henceforth, subject did not have to be avoided. Once a man let the grief come up and totally freed himself from the suppressed energy, he is peaceful and his views of his masculinity changes. He realizes his masculinity is now more complete. He's still just as much of a man, but now he's a man who can also be in touch with and handle his own feelings. Consequently, he's more adequate, more capable, more well-rounded, more understanding, more matured, more capable of relating to, understanding others, more compassionate, and more loving. And in my opinion, he'll be called a complete man, because he'll just not be masculine and he'll have a feminine side. And all of us should know that being born as humans, we have been endured. If you've seen the Chinese symbol of a yin and yang, half of us are feminine, half of us are masculine. Which side let's take over depends upon us. You would have seen many females who are very masculine by nature. They're dictators, they're holding the house's front, they're being the man of the family, they're being the breadwinner. And this, even adage of saying man of the family, is very sexist in a way. Why can't women do the bread and butter thing? Why can't they bring back home? So it's very important to break our shackles of society, right? It's very important to become a complete person. The psychological basis of all grief and mourning is attachment. Attachment and dependence occur when we feel incomplete within ourselves. Therefore, we seek objects, people, relationships, places, concepts to fulfill inner needs, food, any addictions, whatever, because you feel you're dependent and you're looking for something. And sometimes people become dependent upon their coaches, about their life gurus, about their teachers, about, I can't do without my this, Guruji ke paas jana padega, unke paas solution hamare paas hai. But because we are so dependent, we're looking for outside. So a quick request to everyone, stop becoming so attached to anything and anyone. It's good to find a guru and, or people who are mentors, but it's very important to know that we are individuals and we are fully equipped. Now, because they are unconsciously utilized to fulfill an inner need, they come to be identified as mine. As more energy is poured into them, there's a transition from identifying with external objects as mine to begin an actual extension of me. Loss of the object or person is experienced as a loss of our own self in an important part of our emotional economy. Loss is experienced as a diminution of the quality of ourselves with the object or person represented. The more emotional energy invested in the object or person, the greater will be the feeling of loss and the greater the pain associated with the undoing of the bonds of dependence. Attachment creates a dependency, and dependency, because of its nature, intrinsically carries with it a fear of loss. To summarize this, let me tell you, जब हम अधूरे फील करते हैं, हम किसी पे डिपेंडेंट फील करते हैं, तब होता है अच्छा मुझे मेरा मेरा गुरु, मेरा बच्चा, मेरा ये सब भी उम्मीदें उससे होती हैं। इमोशनली आपकी इकोनॉमी खत्म हो जाती है बिकॉज यू आर लुकिंग एट समबडी एल्स। एंड जितना आप दूसरे के अंदर इन्वेस्ट करते हैं सिचुएशन या पर्सन के अंदर, उतना आपको फीलिंग आता है कि अरे आई एम डिपेंडेंट, आई एम डिपेंडेंट। एंड ये मेरा है, मेरा होने से डिपेंडेंसी, दे बोथ अकिन, दे साइड ऑफ द सेम कॉइन, लाइक टू साइड्स ऑफ द सेम कॉइन। डिपेंडेंसी की वजह से आपके अंदर ये भी डर रहता है ये मेरा खो गया तो। सो अटैचमेंट इन इटसेल्फ इज अ बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम। अपने आपने सिंपल एग्जांपल आपने कई बार सुना होगा, when you go to a salon and you go for a haircut, before that, oh they're my hair, oh they're my hair, oh I need this length, or they're this. The minute the barber cuts them off and they're there, you don't even care for those hair. So that attachment is no longer there. Now, up to they become nothing. So very important to let go. Just let go wherever possible. Within each person, there's a child, a parent, and an adult. When grief comes up, it is rewarding to ask within myself, as is the child, parent or adult life, that is the source of this feeling. What is the source of this feeling? जब मुझे पता है मेरे अंदर एक बच्चा भी है, एक पेरेंट भी है और एक अडल्ट भी है, तो मैं दूसरों के से क्यों डिपेंडेंट हूँ? मैं तो कंप्लीट में यथार्थ में आई एम रेडी फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई एम रेडी फॉर इट, सो व्हाई? लेट्स टॉक अबाउट अनदर एग्जाम्पल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द चाइल्ड विद इन अ पर्सन इज स्कैर्ड that something will happen to a beloved dog. It wonders, how will I make it? An adult will also feel grief, but the adult accepts the inevitable. The little kitty or doggy is not immortal. The adult has to regretfully accept that impermanency is a reality of life. Death है तो birth भी होगा. So the adult will know कि dog या kitty किसी को लाएं आप, तो उसकी particular life है, वो उसके बाद मरेगा. बच्चों को लगता है कि how will I survive? We accept that our youth is not permanent, that many romantic relationships are not lifelong, that our dog will die one day. So we are pretty much ready for this journey in our life, right? So very important for us to be able to give ourselves permission to accept that we are going through this emotion, we're going through this loss, and we are the only ones who can fulfill this by handling ourselves. And in my opinion, grief can be handled very, very well with letting go meditations. Very easy to handle. The minute you take a big backlog off your shoulder of your life and just let go and ask yourself, why am I ideas? Okay, so Rahul, are you back? Can you please showcase the book, Rod Judkins' book, please? Okay, so by the time the book shows, let me start reading it. Make what you say unforgettable. The celebrated physiologist Gilles Brindley created an original way to convey his ideas. The audience will never forget his lecture at the American Urological Association meeting in Las Vegas in 1983. So we finished this book. We've moved on to the art of creative thinking. It made an impact that would have taken conventional speakers years to achieve. The New York Times declared Brindley's spectacle the start of a second sexual revolution. Brindley's lecture was cited as a catalyst for the revolution that followed and the introduction of Viagra a decade later. Brindley's talk took place just before a formal dinner reception to an audience of rather pompous doctors and their wives dressed in dinner suits and evening gowns. Brindley explained his theory that it was possible to inject chemicals into the penis to cause an erection. At the time, very little was known about erectile physiology, Viagra, and the days when politicians and saucer legends spoke candidly about their struggle with erectile dysfunction were years away. In the absence of suitable animal models, Brindley had experimented on himself. He showed images of his own penis in various states of tumor sense. Much to the audience's surprise, he explained that it was an effective method that a single dose made an impotent man stay hard for hours. Brindley was concerned when skeptics might question whether erotic stimulation had played a part in achieving the results. The professor wanted to make his case in the most convincing way possible. So he had himself injected shortly before the talk. He pointed out that no one would find the experience of giving a lecture to a large audience erotically stimulating, then dropped his trousers to reveal his clearly erect penis. There was not a sound in the room. Everyone had stopped breathing. Brindley then said, I'd like to give some of the audience the opportunity to confirm the degree of tumor sense. He shuffled to the first row of the horrified audience. Women in the front rows threw their arms up in the air and screamed loudly. The screams seemed to knock the Professor Brindley, who later received a knighthood for his bioengineering research, and he rapidly pulled up his trousers, returned to the podium, and terminated the lecture. The crowd dispersed in a state of stunned silence. The impact of Brindley's lecture changed the course of men's health forever. It was a revolutionary concept. He proved that an erection could actually help without any emotional or erotic arousal that could be achieved in a purely physical way. More importantly, he found a creative way to make an impact on the medical world. An original thinker is a scout on new horizons, a font of inspiration. They find a way to communicate an idea that makes it impossible to forget. They're creative in the way they get their message across. If you have an interesting idea, it's important that people remember it. The people who have changed our thinking are the ones who speak and write from the heart and the courage to be simply who they are. You have the courage to head towards a new frontier without a map. We are on page number 212. And now Yo-Yo Maya says, once something is memorable. Sir, can you please turn the page? Once something is memorable, it's living and you're using it. That to me is the foundation of a creative society. Very, very, very important for all of us to see. So Rahul sir, Akshay is no longer available in this because he has a trip, so he's already travel bound. He's not going to record the meditation either. So let's just read the heart thought. And before this, let's just conclude what we read in this particular fashion. What did we read about? We talked about one of the professors who had a brilliant idea, who helped in a world before Viagra times, helping. So just he made it so unforgettable that people never forgot that imprint which he showed to everyone. So if you have a brilliant idea, go out, have the guts to just go out big and do it. Just show it into the people that, your idea needs your attention and make it so attention seeking that nobody ever forgets. So very important for us to keep going in our life in a way that we have ideas and we showcase them very, very well. So today is about reprogramming negativity, and it's about anybody who wants can raise their hand. I am wonderful and I feel great. We resist the most that which we most need to learn. If you keep saying I can't or I won't, you're probably referring to a lesson that is important to you. Reprogramming your negative beliefs is very powerful. A good way to do is, okay, Richa, you want to read it? I didn't see your hand. Yes, please read it.
Reprogramming your negative beliefs is very powerful. A good way to do it is by making a tape with your own voice on it. Your own voice means a lot to you. Make a tape of your affirmations and play it. It will have a great deal of value for you. If you want a tape that is even more powerful, have your mother make a tape for you. Can you imagine going to sleep with your mother telling you how wonderful you are, how much she loves you, how proud she is of you, and how she knows you can be anything in this world? Wonderful.
How wonderful. So let's just be with the book right now. Reprogramming our negative beliefs is very, very, very powerful. हमने ही program किया है, हम ही reprogram कर सकते हैं. We can write that off by writing a new program on top of it. अब सबसे important चीज है जो हमने कई बार बात करी है, अपनी खुद की मैनिफेस्टेशन की ऑडियो. अभी उस दिन जितेंद्र जी ने भेजी थी उनकी एफर्मेशंस की ऑडियो, राइट? अगर हमारी एफर्मेशंस की ऑडियो हम बना लेते हैं, ईच पर्सन मेक्स इट. पहली बात तो हमारा माइंड हमारी आवाज को पहचानता है. वो आवाज को हम बार बार सुन रहे हैं, हर समय तो सेम एफर्मेशन याद नहीं रहेगी, बहुत वैल्यू एडिशन होगी, आप रियलाइज नहीं करेंगे, महीने 2 महीने में आपको चेंज मालूम पड़ जाए कि जो जो आप चाहते थे वो सब आपके अंदर तब्दीली आ रही है, बिकॉज आपका माइंड, सबकॉन्शियस माइंड रोज वो आपकी बातें सुन रहा है आपकी आवाज में, एंड वट एवर यू वॉन्ट इज कमिंग आउट टू बी वेरी वेरी ट्रू। कई बार इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि अगर आपका कोई मेंटर है, टीचर है, उसकी आवाज में जो आपको बोलना है या सुनना है, आपका बॉस है, आप उसको भी रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हो, तो बार बार आप वो बात सुनते हो, यू लाइक yes I can do it, yes I can do it. Now if you can hear that while sleeping also, subconscious mind में maximum उस समय intake होगा, because उस समय आप subconscious mind की दुनिया में जाने वाले, you're about to sleep. So very important कि आज का जो आप session है, Sunday भी है, try and use it and record your manifestations, your affirmations in a way that you can again and again hear. All right, time for a meditation. Our backs closed. Our backs straight, eyes closed, a soft smile on our faces. Let's take a deep breath in and out. In, out. Once more. Take a deep breath in, very deep. Let your diaphragm completely blow up, your stomach going completely big. And hold. And very gently exhale. Life is magical. Life is beautiful. Life is a lesson. Each one of us has had a physical incarnation chosen by a soul for furthering its spiritual journey. Each one of us has been born in a family which is important for us to grow. Whatever relationships we've had, whatever experiences we've gone through, whatever physical advantages we've had with things, people, or places, it was all meant to be. Whatever was bad in our life, it was all meant to be, because this was our way of learning. Let's take ourselves in that beautiful place wherever we wish to take it. The ideal place where you think this is where you want to be, your manifestation, whatever you think in the morning, think of yourself in that situation, in that place, you having accomplished every single thing you desired. You're spiritually evolved, you're connected with your soul, you have a conversation with your soul every other day. You know which place to move, which place not to move, because you are connected with yourself. Similarly, emotionally, you're very sound. Whenever you need to cry, you cry without being judged. Whenever you want to be strong, you can be strong because you are strong. Physically, you're so fit. You're able to walk beautifully, connect with Mother Nature beautifully every single day. You hug a tree daily, you walk on Mother Earth, you enjoy the fresh, beautiful breeze, you connect with the plants, you take a deep breath in, enjoy the air, enjoy being under space. Mentally, you're reading, discovering, challenging yourself, always being a seeker. You're always there to learn, to question, to grow in life. Financially, you're very strong because whatever you'd manifested has all come true. Your loved ones around you, because you said you have wonderful relationships. Now see yourself. Do a close-up. What are you feeling right now? Is there still stress, tension, or are you at peace? You're aging gracefully. Age doesn't show on you. People are saying, oh my God, you look 20 years younger. And you say, what is in age? Age is all in the mind. You're telling people that you've had bad days with physical health. You've probably been overweight. You've probably had some dis-ease. But you're telling them that, okay, that is the reason why I am who I am today, because I learned a lesson. You're probably doing something that you love now. It could be farming, it could be coaching, it could be whatever you love. You're probably writing books. You're so open and receptive, even in your future, that whatever is meant for you keeps coming to you because you're so open and receptive. And here we are in this beautiful world, having written so many goals, dreams years ago in 2021, and all of them have come true. In fact, in that journal, you would add so many dreams, even those have come true. Like magic, every day you just surrender your dreams. On new moon, you write, on full moon, you surrender. And you've been practicing that forever. And now you realize that everything is a possibility. All you have to do is will it, and it happens. And look around yourself. How beautifully your country has prospered. How society has changed. How children are learning spiritual values from day one. How families have become spiritual. How politicians have changed. How the government has changed. How your country is shining and rising and so bright. India is a superpower in the sense of having the gratitude power. And with that, if the abundance of finances, everything is coming. Imagine India having the strongest currency. Imagine the divisions have fallen. Everything can go wherever they want. Imagine finance is not a problem for anyone. You are financially sound and so is everyone. How does it feel? Imagine you don't even have to boast about yourself because everyone is now great. How does it feel to live in a world where there's such good equanimity and equality? Everyone's health is at the best. Your children, grandchildren, and many more, they're just so happy where they are. Everyone pursues what they want to do. Nobody has to compromise. Now, marriages are more about equality, and children also play an equal role. And the best part is children are also generating money and energy because they realize it's so easy to generate money. From day one, look at the society around you. And then you can talk to them about what happened when you were grown up in 1990s. And they're like, oh my God, where are you living? You choose your age. You choose when you want to leave Mother Earth. There's nothing like a timeline to you, 60, 70, 80. You can move whenever you are ready. You've done your bit. How do you feel? Enjoy this feeling. Add whatever you want to add to it. This fantasy of yours is coming true. Today, on this full moon, on this beautiful day of 19th of December, whatever you have manifested, it's time to surrender to the universe. So look at yourself surrendering all your wishes. So you can probably think that you can look at the moon above. It's a Purnima ka Chand, full moon. And today, you're surrendering all your wishes. Whatever you have, think of them in chronological order or even erratic order and just surrender them all one by one. Take your time, keep surrendering, keep letting go. Keep letting go. Keep thinking of your beautiful manifestations. And now, look up at the moon. Tilt your head a bit. Talk to your moon and say, dear full moon, dear universe, I have so many wishes. And I know they or something better will unfold for my good and the highest good of all possible people. So I let go of my wish right now. I let go of all my wishes. I surrender them to you, knowing that whatever is meant for me to do is going to happen to me. I trust the process of life. I know life will only give me the choicest of blessings, and feel the divinities showering the blessings on you. Just feel all those rose petals are coming down on you. The energy, cosmic energy is coming through you to your Brahmayandra, filling your body with beautiful white healing light. And this golden energy and the silver energy is coming from everywhere around you in your body on this beautiful day. We are surrendering and letting go, surrendering and letting go, surrendering and letting go of all your wishes. Knowing whatever you've manifested, that or something higher is better, is truly coming our way and it has almost come. And now when we looked at our future version, we realized everything we wanted has always come true. So more power to everyone and their dreams. Now you can just fold your hands and just be very, very, very grateful for whatever you've seen, whatever you've surrendered, whatever you wished, whatever you felt. Just thank the Lord for all the beautiful blessings. Rub your hands together. Bless your face for all the 5 senses. Bless your neck. Bless your shoulders, your arms, your front body, your back body. Again, fold your arms. We're grateful for this beautiful life. We're grateful for the future life because we know that we are going to be magical and we are magical. And let everyone be magical on this sacred day in the Soulful Sunday, and let everyone's dreams come true. More love, more light for every sentient being. Ruchi, Jitindraji, Vijayji, Richa, Ushaji, Manish, Manisha, Akshay, Anita, Neha, Ritu, Dr. Kamakshi, Shami, Ankur, Rahul sir, Amrita ma'am, and everyone. Lots of love, lots of light. Be blessed. A quick reminder, today is the full moon. So 10:05 in the morning, the full moon is at its premium. You may not see it. You can surrender that time or the evening whenever you wish. So lots of love and lots of light to everyone. Take care. Be blessed. Any questions? If any, you can raise your hand. All right. So I'm glad that everyone's comforted and they're all comfortable in the flow. So see you tomorrow morning at 5. Lots of love and light. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.